Welcome to Lighting for Profits with Ryan Lee, your number one source for all things landscape lighting. From lighting design, install, sales, and marketing, we discuss everything you need to know to start and grow a successful landscape lighting business.
What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. It's Ryan Lee. I'm the host of Lighting for Profits here on Turfs Up Radio. I'm so glad to see you. So glad you're here. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be part of it. This is such an epic journey, you guys. I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, honestly, it's such a joy because I get to have guests on here that, I probably would have never met. And some of these guys I know, some I don't. And it's just awesome. It's such a cool feeling to be part of this industry and to be able to do what I do. So I hope you guys love what you do as much as I love what I do. And today, we're going to have our guest is Bryan Gold. Bryan Gold with Brilliance LED. So I'm super excited to have him on because I actually met him on we were skiing together just a couple months ago. So maybe we'll ask him about the ski trip and go off on one of those tangents. But I'm super excited to have him on. He's with Brilliance LED. I used a lot of Brilliance when I had my business. And I don't know if he even knows that, but I like his name, Bryan, because I want to tell you a funny story. Here on the station, the guys are giving me a hard time because when I introduce myself to a lot of people, they say, "What's your name?" I say, Ryan. And they say, "Bryan?" And I'm like, okay. I just kind of gave up years ago. I'm like, yeah, just call me Bryan, because for some reason I cannot enunciate. I don't know how to say my own name. I'm 41 years old and I cannot say Ryan. So they just say Bryan. So they did a new recording, a new introduction for the weekend review, and they introduced me as Bryan Lee. So it's pretty funny. And what's funny is, I've got a neighbor that moved in. It's a new neighborhood, so we get people moving in all the time now. And this guy moved in a couple, I guess it's been a while now, maybe 6 months ago. And we're introducing ourselves, and he says, "What's your name?" I say, "Ryan." He's like, "Bryan?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And he's like, well, did I get it wrong? And I'm like, "Well, it's technically Ryan." And I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Bryan." And I said, "Oh, did you say Ryan?" And he's like, "That's so hilarious," because he has the same exact thing happen to him. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So he says Bryan and people think he says Ryan. And I'm like, what the heck? So he introduces himself as Ryan and they go, "Bryan?" And he said, "Yeah, exactly." So I don't even know what I'm going to start doing, but that is our guest today, Bryan Gold, and we're going to have him on in just a few minutes. But before we get started, a couple of things. I mean, one, if you guys have any topics or ideas where you're just like, "Man, I really want Ryan to talk about this," then shoot me an email, support@ryanleecoaching.com. Or if you have a guest where you're like, "Man, I really want this guest to be on there," then again, shoot me an email, support@ryanleecoaching.com. And, yesterday was Memorial Day. And, honestly, I don't know, that Memorial Day, a lot of people say Happy Memorial Day. It's not really happy, right? Because, the things that we're remembering and everything. But I hope you guys had a good day. I hope you took time to reflect on the sacrifices that others have made for you, and that's what I did. I know, people that you didn't even know, like people that you didn't know, they didn't know you. They gave their life. They gave that ultimate sacrifice so that you could do whatever you want. And I know we all have different beliefs and we have different sides and agendas, whatever. But honestly, like, I got to say, we live in an amazing country. Like, I love America. And listen, I know I've got listeners all over the world now, which thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, you guys are awesome. And I'm grateful for your support, but I live in America, right? I love America. We have, we've got our problems just like anything else, but it's an amazing country. And I'm grateful for the freedoms that we have. I'm grateful for those people that have sacrificed so much. And I know Memorial Day is different than Veterans Day, but still, thank you guys, all of you who have served to protect our freedom. So I'm super grateful and just wanted to kind of get that out there. So the other thing I want to talk about before we welcome Bryan onto the show is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And, I've got my coaching program, Landscape Lighting Secrets. And, I teach a lot of things about business, marketing, sales, pricing strategies, all sorts of different things, right? And the one thing that I keep going back to, and I'm going to keep going back to, that is required beyond any other skill set. Like, I could teach you how to do all this different stuff, right? But the one thing that's required beyond all of that stuff is belief. Okay. And belief is such an important aspect in business. Like, you can learn all these great things, right? About how to be a better salesperson and what marketing to do and pricing and everything else. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the belief that you can do this, that you can double your price, that you can do all these things, then you're going to get stuck, And I can teach you all these things, but if doubt creeps in, then you're done. You're toast. You know what I mean? And this is the reason the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. They believe they can, and they believe they can't do it respectively, right? The rich are like, dude, I got this. The poor are like, I don't got this. And so if you don't believe that you can succeed, well, then guess what? You ain't going to succeed. That's just how it is. Like, your disbelief is actually belief. You believe that you're not going to succeed. I hate to say it, but we all have belief. It's just some of us have it focused in the wrong way, right? We have it, our energy is off. I mean, I wrote down some of the things that I've heard. I don't know if I can raise my price. I can't charge that much. I'm not good at sales. You can't sell $1 million in my market. It's impossible to hire right now. I can't find people willing to work. No one can design as good as me. No one can install as good as me. No one can sell as good as me. All right. And by the way, those aren't just things that I wrote down. I've actually been guilty of saying those same things, right? I used to think that no one could sell as good as me. Like, they wanted Ryan Lee to be at their house. Like, they don't care about you, right? So these are all just beliefs. And honestly, these are false beliefs. Okay. Like I said, you have belief. Sometimes you just have false beliefs. And so it's my goal to help you, inspire you. And my guests, same thing. I'm bringing these guys on. We all want the best for this industry. We all want the best for you. So you've got to change those false beliefs into true beliefs that can actually be realized. And you need to have a positive mindset. So you need to be able to create certainty. One day I'm going to write a book called Do Not Try, because everyone's like, oh yeah, I'll try. And I'm like, don't try. Like, what do you mean try? Like, trying, you're already starting off knowing that you can fail, right? Don't try. Do not try. Because if you try, you're going to fail. But if you just do not try, you're going to succeed, right? So stop trying and start doing. I think it was last year. I don't know, with the pandemic and everything, it threw dates and times off. So don't hold me responsible for this, but I think it was last January. I was at an event and Tony Robbins was like the keynote speaker. And he was awesome, man. I mean, I had never heard him live or anything like that, but it was like 4 hours of just like, just stuff. And you're just like, dude, I'm going to change my life, And he one of the things he said was, practice in private to be rewarded in public. Okay. And Michael Jordan, he took over 1,000 practice shots per day. And the problem is, most of us want the Michael Jordan results, but we're not willing to put in the Michael Jordan practice, the time. Because you don't see that on TV. You just see him like, killing it. Right. And what's crazy is we're still talking about Michael Jordan, and he, how many years later, right? So he was that good. And so it's important to get results in advance in your mind. You need to create certainty and belief. And honestly, the first step in that, it's the first step in creating momentum, because you just have a lot of people are afraid, right? And they're like, well, I don't know that I can do it. Well, then that's why you have belief. Do you believe you can do it? If not, tell yourself, I believe I can do it. Once you believe, then you can take action. And once you take action, you're going to get results. And when you get results, all of a sudden that adds to that belief, which now creates certainty, because you're like, wow, I can do this, right? It starts a magical thing called momentum, which that could be like a 10-hour seminar just on that on its own. So guys, I just want you to believe. I want you to believe in yourself and know that things that you don't even know are possible, because the more you educate yourself, the more you network, the more you find out there's a lot of people that have already done what you think is impossible, right? So make sure that you understand that you do have beliefs. A lot of what we're filled with is false beliefs, and you need to get rid of those surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with people that will support your positive beliefs and that will encourage you to chase your dreams. So that's my quick little message for you today. I do want to remind you guys that if, we're live right now on Turfs Up Radio, we're live on Facebook, live on YouTube. But if you have missed anything, well, we have a podcast, right? It's on all the major platforms. And by the way, I've gotten 3 reviews. So thanks, guys. 5-star reviews. I don't know who did that. One of them was probably my mother. So the other 2, those were like legit, and someone even wrote something like a really nice comment. And I didn't recognize the screen name or whatever, but thank you guys for your support. The YouTube subscribers are going up. Like, I love you guys. So thanks so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. And honestly, we can't do this stuff without your support. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to be growing my YouTube channel. So just like I asked for feedback and advice about like what you guys want to hear, shoot me an email if there's certain video types that you guys want to see, certain training about installation or design or anything like that, have to do with employees, anything like that. Just let me know. I mean, I'm totally open for feedback. I want this to be geared around you guys, and I don't want to go over stuff that you don't care about, right? So that's what I want to talk about right now. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break. Make sure. Yeah, it's time. We're going to take a quick break. And then when we get back, we finally get to welcome Mr. Bryan Gold of Brilliance LED. So they are a manufacturer of, back in the day, it was just lamps. It was just bulbs. But they got a lot of new stuff. So we're going to talk to him about some new things that they're working on as well. And get to know him. So guys, stick around. We've got I don't know, it's not long. It's barely even like 2 minutes, if that, of a commercial break. And then we'll be right back with Bryan Gold of Brilliance LED. Stick around.
Hey, landscape pros, are you tired of digging through rocks and roots and breaking shovels in the process? Then it's time you checked out the Geo Ripper 616. It's a landscaper's dream with the Makita 6 Series 2-cycle engine producing over 4 horsepower of raw performance. The 616 digs deep in up to 16 inches of the toughest soils. Lighting, landscape, and irrigation contractors already love this improved lightweight trencher with its ability to get in and get out faster, easier, and with less ground disturbance. And you will too. This redesigned Geo Ripper 616 comes with 2 heavy-duty digging chains and a whole mess of helpful extras. To learn more about the Geo Ripper and how it can help you out in the field, visit georipper.com today.
Hey everybody, it's Brooke Ford, host of the Green Veteran here on Turfs Up Radio. Be sure to check me out every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. You're going to hear some great one-on-one interviews with green industry professionals. We're going to talk about best business practices, highlight innovative products, and also provide some insight into some new emerging technologies in the field. That's the Green Veteran, airing each Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And remember, Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Do you hear that? It's quiet. No sounds of anger, attempts to throw a phone or computer out the window, or annoyance trying to change your business to make it fit into a software program. Crew Control just works. It's easy to do your scheduling. You can be up and running in less than a day. It's got everything you need and nothing you don't. Give it a try for yourself with our 2-week free trial. crewcontrol.com. That's crewcontrol.com.
What's up, everybody? It's Ryan Lee with Lighting for Profits here in the Landscape Lighting Secrets studio, and I want to welcome our guest, Mr. Bryan Gold with Brilliance LED. What's going on, Bryan?
How's it going, Ryan? Thank you. Appreciate it. Honored to be on your show.
Oh, man. No, I'm honored to have you on here, so mutual respect there, and I really am excited. Bryan and I, we had never met up until, a few months ago, and then we end up in a random ski trip together.
Yeah, Going backcountry, having a good time.
That was a blast. Sometimes when you go on those ski trips, you're not sure like the level of experience, and you don't want to go with people that are too far ahead of you, because then you're like, can I go down that? Or you don't want to go with people that are too slow. You're like, okay, this is lame. But I tell you, Bryan is a great skier. He will never hold you up, and we had a blast going down whatever we wanted to go down.
That was a great time. Very, very fortunate to be able to do that with you guys.
That was cool, man. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here with us. And I want to find out first a little bit about yourself, and then, let's find out about Brilliance and some of the cool things you guys are working on. I'm familiar with a lot of stuff with Brilliance, but tell us a little bit about your background and like how did you get started into the landscape lighting industry?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's a good question. So I had lived in Connecticut up until I was 23, and got out of a long relationship. And my dad had lived here in Arizona, and he's like, why don't you just come out here for a few months? So I took everything that I had, put it in the back of my pickup truck, and drove to Arizona. I get here, 23 years old, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I just quit my job that I had been at for 8.5 years. We were building race car engines, and then, I was dating the farmer's daughter thing. So I was milking cows in the morning, building race car engines during the day, and then milking again at night. So it was really eye-opening to come out to the desert where it was 120 degrees. And I get here, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I have no plans. And college at that point wasn't for me. I had gone part-time for 5 years, and I said, this is silly. I'd be sitting there in trigonometry. I had to try to take it 3 times and finally passed it. But I'd be sitting there thinking, what am I doing? I'm thinking of all these other ways to make money, and here I am sitting in class. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, but that being said, I think it's great for a lot of people. And in hindsight, I probably should have finished it. But moving forward, I got out here, and my father was doing his own thing, selling real estate and doing a few other things. And he had this landscape lighting system, an old nightscaping system at his house here in Carefree. Carefree is where our office here is. It's a small little town. We joke around. It's where old people go to visit their parents. And, but he had this nightscaping system, and it was falling apart. And it had like old footlighters, and we needed some replacement parts. We needed new sockets. And if you don't know anything about landscape lighting, you don't know that like sockets are replaceable. You don't know where to get this stuff or what to do. So I call up the phone number on the bottom of the fixture, and Kevin Smith I get eventually forwarded to Kevin Smith, who's the area manager here for nightscaping at the time. And he's like, yeah, we got those replacement parts. In fact, I probably have them on my truck. I can come up and show you later this week or whatever, and we'll do that. So he came up to that house, and we ended up tuning up the whole landscape lighting system at my dad's house. Took them all, sanded them down, repainted them, and it looked a whole lot better than it did. And then he said to me, he goes, what do you think about being a landscape lighting contractor? I don't know. I hadn't thought about it at all. But the idea of being outside, working outside, was so much better than my prior 8.5 years working inside 4 concrete walls. So I said, this sounds great. Let's do it, right? So I jumped on one of those next opportunities at nightscaping that was in California, the trainings that they did, and learned everything that I could about it. And Kevin would come out and help me design jobs, install jobs, and help sell them. I didn't know what I was doing. And my dad was with me as well, and we were kind of figuring this out together. And that's how we ended up doing our first job. It was like, I think it was $2,500, and it might have been 10 fixtures. But we looked at what it cost. It cost us $1,250 in material. I'm like, this is great. And it took us a day to install it. I'm like, this is cool. So we just kept rolling with that. And I don't know, here we are many, many, many years later.
Right.
That was the company that we started was called Let There Be Light.
Okay.
And I had that for 11 years, and I sold it 3 years ago.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And the reason I like asking people that is because that's one thing that we all have in common. I mean, I haven't met anybody that went to school to become a landscape lighting guy yet. So if you're out there, reach out to me, we'll have you on the show. But everyone else were someone told us you'd be a good landscape lighting guy. We all had that Kevin Smith guy, right? And You're like, what? I would? What's a landscape lighting guy? We don't even know what landscape lighting is. And then fast forward years, and you're like, wow, I made millions of dollars off of landscape lighting, something I didn't even know was an industry. And you get into it and you're like, there's an industry, there's manufacturers, there's suppliers, there's trade shows, there's trainings. Like what? Like how is this even possible? So I've been in it 15 years and I think I'm still just kind of amazed by it. Like all of us have these different backgrounds, but now all of a sudden we meet here in the landscape lighting profession. So thanks for sharing that. It's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. It's a whirlwind, and but I wouldn't have it any other way. Ended up, for many years ran both companies in parallel, because we had started Brilliance in 08. Brilliance in 09.
Why did you guys decide to get into manufacturing?
A customer. Oh, this goes back to 2009 era, circa 2009. A customer had said, I really want my columns blue. And I had sat there and played around with 50-watt halogen MR16s and blue filters trying to get these things blue. And he's like, they're just not blue enough. He's like, I want blue, like lightsaber blue. And I ended up sourcing some LEDs online that were blue, and they were good enough, but they were still junk. And that's kind of when the light bulb went off, pun intended. It was like, this is what this industry needs.
And is that why it's Brilliance Blue?
No, not necessarily. But
oh, that's cool.
We wanted to be different, and the blue was different, and I don't know, it's good.
So let me ask you this, just from a contractor side, what's your opinion? What's more important, design or sales?
That's tough. It's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So sales are super important. You need to get in front of the customer. And I will even say how we grew our business. We had, from the contracting side, we had over 1,200 customers. And a lot of those were just little service calls where, Mrs. Jones had a light bulb that didn't work. She had a lamp that didn't work, most likely a socket. You could go out there, replace the socket for it. And a lot of times I would just do, in the very, very beginning, I would just do some of these things for free because it was 15, 20 minutes and it was a mile down the road from the office. So it wasn't like a big expense on my part, but it just got my name out there and the foot in the door. And then when her system needed a major upgrade, she would call, and it just do that over and over and over again. I think, so to get back to your question, I think the sales are more important, and having confidence in yourself that you can do it. You can go to a job, you can sell it. And a lot of times I would get in front of a homeowner and they'd ask for something. I'd be like, yeah, we could do it. And then I'd think to myself on the ride back to the office, what did I just do?
Like, how are we going to do this?
I have no idea how I'm going to install what they just asked for. Right. So, and then I would just start digging and researching, calling people I knew and trying to figure it out as I went along. And I sort of make it up as you go along. I did have some great coaching, with Kevin from a design perspective, and learned a lot over the years through trial and error, what looked great, what didn't. I do think, truthfully, though, lighting is the most subjective thing out there.
Yep.
And if the customer loves it, it's good.
Yeah. And there's people that would disagree with that and be like, no, you're the lighting designer, whatever. But at some point, to your point, you can't convince them to like something just because it's a better, in your opinion, a better design. If they don't like it, they don't like it. Why
do some people like 5700 in a landscape? I don't know. I don't like it. It doesn't look good, but some people love it. And it is what it is. Yeah. And they're the ones cutting the check. So I do think sales are more important. You got to be able to get out there, get in front of the homeowner, be confident.
What about what do you think of demos? Because you mentioned something when you were getting started, you went and did free work, which everyone else is like, dude, why are you working? Like, your time is worth money. I mean, you hear all those arguments. Yeah. So what do you think about doing free demos?
So two things. Let me put that in context. So it was 2008, 2009. We were in a pretty hefty recession. Nobody was spending, at least in my experience, and I probably didn't know what I was doing, right? Nobody was installing $30,000 lighting jobs at the end of 08, 09, So, 06 is essentially when I did my first job. But demos are tricky, right? There were a few times that I would go out and I would do a demo for someone, and I tried doing the whole $250, and if you go with me, I'll take you off. And I never really enjoyed doing that. but it was educational for myself. I realized, I initially thought I would definitely just put the fixture here because I think that's the best spot to do it. But when I did it, I was like, I don't really like it. I'm going to move it. So I think it's more beneficial for the contractor and the designer to do demos. And if you're a confident salesman, you'll be able to sell it. I don't, but there are, but again, I don't know if it's right or wrong, because there's guys that do demos and they do great with it and they have a wonderful, successful business. So I guess that's why they make Fords and Chevys.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. No, and with a lot of this stuff, I mean, like you said, lighting's subjective. Well, some of these other things are too. It depends on your style and what you're trying to achieve and everything else. So there isn't a right and a wrong answer on a lot of this stuff. How about this? Because you've been on the contracting side, now you're on the manufacturing side. But for the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is because I found out that there's a lot of places where contractors get stuck, and it's the exact same stuff. Like, I've identified those exact same things, and it's like, well, if I got stuck with it and he got stuck and he got then there's a problem, and I can help you get unstuck, right? But what advice would you give to either those contractors who are already in the lighting industry and they got stuck, right? They're just having a difficulty scaling, or someone who's just kind of getting started? Like, what advice would you give them?
That's a great question, Ryan. So I think if you're just getting started, you got to establish a name for yourself. You got to get in front of the community you want to work in. I know for us in the town of Carefree, when I did this, we donated a few big bollard fixtures for their town garden area and just installed them for free. The town put a little blurb out there in their newspaper and all that kind of stuff. And it was like a $1,500 expense for myself, but that paid itself big time, just doing that, because I was new in town, right? That worked out really well. I say, figure out where you want to be, the location you want to be, and go all in. But I think once you get established to the point where, maybe it's like you finally upgrade your truck, or you can finally upgrade your trailer, or whatever it is. It could be the simplest things, but make sure your stuff looks nice. When you're rolling up to even a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house or $1 million home, people want to see stuff that looks nice, right? Make sure your truck looks nice. Make sure you look nice. Comb your hair, button your shirt, tuck it in. And what I always found surprising is that there were very, very, very few customers who didn't want this. And I knew right off the bat that it wasn't even worth my time talking to them. I eventually got to that point, but most everybody wants the white glove service. They want their hand held through the entire process, right? Lighting could be new for them, but they want the white glove service, so give it to them. And most of them are willing to pay for it, right? So incredible follow-up, under promise, over deliver, that sort of thing. Yeah. And I remember having some customers that would come back. These were their vacation homes, and they'd come back. They'd send me a text message. Hey, I'm going to be in town next week. Can you make sure everything's tip top? And I had the keys to some of these homes. It was absolutely, these multi-million-dollar homes. It was incredible to go in and turn the lights on and clean all the lenses and make sure everything was aimed properly. And it was a few-hour process, but those guys still text me to this day. And of course, I have to refer them out. But it was pretty cool. So I think you got to hold the customers' hands, make them feel comfortable, and be confident. Be confident in yourself. Yeah, that's solid advice. That's why you have the amazing resource here for all these contractors, because you can go out and sell confidently, get in front of the homeowner, sell the job, then go figure out how to do it. And a lot of times you have this incredible network of people who know how to do this stuff, or can at least get you out of a pickle, that I think I'm sort of one of those, just kind of go for it and figure it out later.
Well, I think it's like in this industry, I don't know. It's not like I've been a part of a ton of other industries, but I feel like it's a very helpful industry where you could do that, where you could go sell the job and then like go into any manufacturer, distributor, whatever. Like, there's a lot of good, even other contractors that are like, yeah, send me the picture. I'll tell you what lights to use and where to put them and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty cool. You don't expect to get that anywhere else.
No. And then nowadays with, smartphones and stuff, I suppose you could have used email and a camera back when I was doing this, but it's so easy to take a shot, a quick picture of something. Like a rep will do it for us all the time. One of our, reps will be like, hey, I have no idea how to light this, and someone's asking for my recommendation, and they text me, they text Kevin, and they got an answer with a little drawing on it, 4 or 5 minutes later. And that didn't exist so much 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things I heard you say was, differentiation. Like you're like, hey, make sure you're, you guys donated the bollards or whatever. So I feel like that's not everyone's going to be doing that. Not every, especially established lighting companies, they're probably not going to be thinking outside the box like that.
Right.
So if you're trying to get unstuck or you're trying to get that next job or whatever, I mean, an idea like that, like you said, showing up. I mean, some people show up in these junky trucks thinking that, well, my customers like that because if I have a nice truck, they think I'm overcharging or whatever. It's like, no, like they want you to look professional. They want you to look like you're making good money because that means you can afford to service them if they have an issue, So I love what you said.
I always turned it around and be like, would I want this person in my home?
Yeah.
At the time when I had 2 really tiny kids in the house, I was like, who would I want? Who would I feel comfortable inviting into my home? And I think if you turn it around like that and you look at it, be like, oh, okay. Like I don't want, you don't want like the riffraff coming in your house, right? So, I think it's important. I don't think you need a truck to do sales either.
No, unless you're in Texas, then it actually is a requirement.
Valid.
Yeah.
No point.
I mean, I always had a really clean truck and people mentioned that. And that's how I know it's important because customers would see it and go, wow, like your truck is immaculate. And they automatically assume that if you take care of that, you're going to take care of them.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
All right. I told you it'd go quick. So we got to take a quick break. And then we got to get into some more meat of stuff because the time's going by fast. We're already halfway through.
Wow.
So you got time though? You stick around? Okay. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, but I'm here. I'm joined with Bryan Gold of Brilliance LED. Of course, we got to thank our, sponsors and commercials. So we're going to do that real quick. This one's even shorter. So stick around and then we'll be right back with Bryan Gold.
Attention all pros. When you leave a deal with your clients, don't leave money on the table. Join Turfs Up Nation today and partner with pros all across the country who can help you make more money for services that are related to your project. Landscapers need plumbers, and pool installers need hardscapers, and every combination in between. Turfs Up Nation is free. Your information is secure, and you will be connected with other pros in the industry that want to do business with you. Not to mention property owners who need help with just about everything. If you think your clients don't need you and the connections you have, think again. Join turfsupnation.com today and start putting more money in your pocket for services you never knew you could. To sign up for this free service, go to turfsupnation.com.
Hey everybody, this is Hecubus from the Nightcap. I'm just sitting here relaxing within the vault with my friends and a tasty, tasty pint. You should stop by and listen in sometime. I'm here every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, live only on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station.
Hey, this is Jeff Hester, senior contributor and co-host of the Weekend Review here on Turfs Up Radio. Can't make it to major green industry events, but want to stay connected? Don't worry, we have you covered. Be sure to download the Turfs Up Radio app or visit our website. We'll bring you the live coverage you need to keep you up to date with everything that happens in our industry. And to find out where we'll be next, simply visit greenindustryevents.com. That's greenindustryevents.com. And always remember, Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's Ryan Lee, host of Lighting for Profits on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station. It's like the second time I've remembered to say that in 11 episodes. But they said it's my show, and they said I could do what I want. So I'm just doing what I want.
Just go with it. Just go.
Bryan, welcome back to the studio. Let's talk about Brilliance for a little bit. What's the largest project you can recall of that Brilliance has been a part of?
That's a tough one. So, I mean, fixtures for us are relatively new. So, I still feel like we have an awful lot of work to do when it comes to that. We've had some really large jobs up in New England and that area, Canada, New Hampshire area. One project that had 193 Sequoia path lights on it. I thought that was an awful lot of path lights.
Just path lights.
Yeah. And it had a whole bunch of custom length Olympic bollards on it. That was really neat. Cool. This is kind of a cool old story. I think it was like the middle of February, and this was going way back. This was like 2011, 2012. We had this massive order that came out of Lincoln, Nebraska, and spoke to the distributor. It's like, who in the world is buying lamps in Lincoln, Nebraska in the middle of February? And they go, Larry the cable guy. So I thought that was kind of cool. But we've had a lot of really great projects over the years, and it's really all because of our people. Our reps out there and doing the hard work and making it happen and making the sales.
That's cool. Well, do you guys have any? I don't know. Maybe I'll just ask you first. Do you have any cool products that you have coming out soon, or that you're working on, or anything you can share with us?
Yeah, we do. I have one huge project coming out, 2 huge projects coming out that I'm super excited about. Can't share with you guys yet, but
come on, this is the station that everyone comes to
I know
out first.
I know it's tough. It's tough. I was ridiculed this morning. I said, "Don't open your mouth." So there's that. But we do have a couple really cool small integrated lights that kind of along the lines of our mini beam products now that you guys are familiar with. They kind of take that to a different level. Some shields are built in. They're post mount, super, super tiny little post mount integrated fixtures, just like our mini beams. They work out great on an 1.5-inch steel post, or 1.5-inch steel post, or deck railings or anything like that. They'll be brass and black. Should be pretty great.
Okay, cool. What about I don't even know how to say this, what Greg's asking about here. Cerakote.
Cerakote.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So
tell us about that.
Is a really high-end finish they use on a lot of firearms and that sort of thing. And we use it on all of our display fixtures because we do a clear Cerakote, and then you'll never get fingerprints on the copper or the brass, and it lasts a really, really long time. It's supposed to have incredible UV qualities and durability qualities too. So you really have to scrape it with a knife to really get the coating off, if you will. So Greg had requested that we do some samples for him. So we did an entire Cerakoted fixture. Every little nut, bolt, screw, lens, everything was all black, and it was came out really, really good. And Greg's experimenting with those in his territory right now. So thank you for that, Greg. Okay,
so that's cool. That's just something where, I guess let's talk about the customization option that you guys kind of have for clients, because I know that's just one thing that I've heard about.
Absolutely. So, for example, my background's machine tool, building race car engines, doing that, like we were talking about earlier. And it's so funny how life goes full circle. And here we are with a full-blown machine shop doing this stuff now after all the installation days. But if people reach out all the time, it's almost weekly, say, I've got an idea. Can you guys make it? And, we crunch the numbers, do some drawings. And if it seems like it's in the wheelhouse and it's going to work, we roll with it. So we had a guy up in Long Island designed this beautiful 6-foot-tall bollard, and he's like, can you guys make it? We did a quick batch of 5 of them. It was really cool. It had an aqua beam in the top that shined down, and then a mini beam in the bottom that shined up. And it was a 6-inch by 6-inch bollard. He loved it so much, and it's something he was putting on every single installation he did. And then he came to us and said, hey, I want an exclusivity for these in my area, but I'm going to buy 25 at a time. It's like, yeah, we can do that. That works. So all sorts of great ideas. And I feel like a lot of our fixtures have a very modular, the way they can be built and the way they're put together. So you can get really creative. If you see something that's, you see something in our catalog or online, it's like, I kind of want that top with that bottom, or we can do that. We can get creative in different ways like that.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, that way, if someone really has a client that's thinking outside the box or whatever, then it's like, hey, just come to you. you don't know if you can do it or not, but yeah, like you said, if it makes sense, then.
And this is great too from a contractor, right? You're in this situation where like, I got to light this thing and I need a mount like this. And, I know, I guess you can always go to the big box store and get creative and put together a bunch of pipe fittings or do something crazy. But,
That's
if
fun.
you have an idea, chicken scratch it up, snap a picture of it, send it to us, and we'll be happy to take a look at it for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess when it comes to the finish that we were talking about, the Cerakote, and that comes in multiple, like you can choose the color of it, clear versus a color.
Correct. So Greg wanted clear and black. That was something he was playing around with. And Cerakote is like a licensed product, and then it requires licensed applicators to put it on. So it's a pretty tricky product. And but yeah, it can be pink, blue, green, black, brown, bronze, all sorts of different colors. So it's something that we're looking into to see if this is a good option for people wanting different colors down the road here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What do you guys offer for like underwater fixtures?
So right now we have our aqua beam, we have our fixed aqua beam, and then an adjustable aqua beam, and then our mini beams as well are IP68. So they're great for little fountains or ponds or that sort of thing.
What's the adjustable one? Like
the adjustable aqua beam it's a C464 naval brass housing, right? That holds the lens on there, and it sits on an adjustable gimbal, right? So you could take this, mount it underneath a dock, and you can aim it out away from the dock. You do all sorts of different things with it. It can go in fountains, but it's got a nice stainless steel bracket, so everything's adjustable.
Oh, okay, cool. And then what about, you guys do like custom engravings as well, right?
We do, yeah. So the custom engraving has been really great. I know locally here, our rep Sarah's done a killer job. She's gotten in front of some salons and all sorts of things, and had they get their salon logo put on the front on the top of the bollard. It looks super cool. But guys all over the country are requesting it and asking for it, and we're grateful for the work. We appreciate it. And you guys are going out there coming up with the ideas, putting your customer's family crest on there, or your company's logo or your name, and you guys are doing great.
That's cool. I've seen some of those, and it's cool. I mean, it's definitely, the right customer is going to really appreciate that and love it. So if you have those opportunities,
and here's something too. It's like, from a contractor perspective or sales perspective, it's like, here's the job. Let's go ahead and do it. And as a thank you to you, I'm going to go ahead and do the engraving on my cost as a contractor, right? I'm going to put if you want your initial on there, whatever it is, I'll do it at my cost. Because if it's a part that we already have engraved with Brilliance Metalworks, we just engrave something different.
Yeah.
There's a setup fee to do so, but it's relatively straightforward to change what it says.
Well, and I will say this, you cannot do that. You cannot not afford to do that unless you're charging enough, which, I mean, I'm big on increasing prices and stuff like that. But if you're charging enough, it's easy to do little surprises like that for customers, and you don't even tell them about it. And then you show it to them. That surprise element is, I mean, they'll tell everybody about that.
Absolutely. And I think cracking a bottle of wine and bringing the homeowners out to the street and turning the system on and having it go from dark to light, just like that, I think is really, really powerful.
Yeah, no, I do too. Let's talk about, I mean, you guys started, now you've gotten into fixtures as well, but you started as a lamp manufacturer. What would you say is one of your big differentiators? There's so many different, lamps to choose from the just cheap ones where people know they're cheap, but they're like, well, yeah, but they said they have a good warranty or whatever. I mean, there's all these different justifications that you hear, but why should someone go with Brilliance, even though they might pay? And I'm not saying you guys are even expensive, but I'm just saying compared to some more inexpensive stuff, why should someone go with Brilliance?
I do think generally the saying goes, you get what you pay for, right? There's a lot of little things you don't see. Potting, conformal coating, accuracy with what's advertised as far as color temperature, beam spread, all that sort of thing. Because as a designer, you guys are, those lamps are your tools out in the field. Okay. How am I going to light this object? What lamp do I want to use to do this, right? And you want to make sure that you're choosing the right thing and that what you're choosing actually is what it is. So I think, and we also offer a large variety of colors, color temperatures, beam spreads. So you're going to give the guys everything they might need to get a project done, even if it's strange and unique. I think the quality of components as well is something that is really important for us. You know, our drivers are super robust. We have a operating voltage on most of our products for 8 to 25 volts. Right, so you either feed that thing 8 volts or you feed it 25 volts. The lamp's going to give you the same amount of lumens. Now, after 25 volts, there's a little TBS diode in there that has to absorb and scrub out all that extra voltage. And then that builds to heat, and eventually it blows up. But that's a conversation for another time. But the
I mean, in all reality, if they're using your basic, low voltage transformer, they're going to be at most pushing 15 to it.
Yeah, and you're going to be fine. So I think that really answers it. And then when it comes to the fixture stuff, we started with our aqua beams and then our dimmers, right? That started way back in 2015. And then I always thought, it would be really cool to do some of our own fixtures. These are features that I liked as a contractor. As a contractor, there wasn't just one manufacturer that I would use. I kind of had a handful that I played around with. And I kind of took lots of different attributes of things that I enjoyed that made my life easier as a contractor and kind of integrated it into one fixture line here.
Yeah, very cool. So let's talk about you guys over the next 5-10 years, and even the industry. What changes do you see coming down? Like, I know you said you can't tell us your super secret operation that you're working on, but like, where do you see the industry in the next 10 years? Is it going to be color changing stuff? Is it going to be all app based? Like, what do you see going on?
It's a really good question. I wish I had a magic ball, but I do think the industry is going to grow substantially, over the next 10 or 15 years, because you go to parts of the country, there's still no landscape lighting in people's yards, right? And it's still sort of in its infancy, if you will. So I think there's a lot of room for growth within this industry. I think the whole DIY craze is, I don't think that's going anywhere, right? I think we're all like working with our hands. We all like doing things. There's a lot of people like us out there that are doing that. There's a lot of people buying homes, selling homes, flipping homes that want to have it look nice. It's amazing what lighting will do. Of course, all you guys understand that. But I think it's regarding the app-based color changing. For me, the color changing thing is so subjective that you're going to have people that love it, people that hate it. You're going to have the old school traditional 2700, and that's what it is, nothing more, nothing less. And their customers love that, and that's okay too. And then you have the guys that love the color stuff, and just because your customers love it. I think it's great. I remember having this back before we had color changing stuff, but it was just fixed colors. I did this design and installation where the front of the home is very white, warm, classic, very fancy and elegant. And when you get to the back, it was all colors and it was a party platform. And that's just how these customers liked it.
Yeah, that's business in the front, party in the back.
That's right. I want to grow a mullet. I think I should.
I have a mullet?
Yeah. I'm going to bring it back. The mullet's been gone too long.
Yeah, well, I mean, that guy probably had one. So
definitely. To this date, still does.
Man, that's cool. Well, I mean, I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited to see your growth and everything. I know a lot of contractors that use Brilliance. Some of them are on here. Paul was giving you a shout out there. But yeah, man. So for anyone who is not familiar with you or, wants to find out more information, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, we're brillianceled.com. Our phone number, in case you guys are interested, is 1-800-867-2108. We always have a live person pick up the phone. I think that's really important. But it's brillianceled.com. Check us out. So thank you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on here. And we'll have to do it again. I mean, it's literally, these shows got by so quick. I'm like,
way too quick. Way too quick. I got a lot of things I want to talk about. We're out of time. We didn't even get into skiing.
Well, Bryan does have a video of me, which you can post in the Facebook somewhere. Well, you don't do Facebook. Send it to me. I'll post it because he does have a small video of me crashing on one of the slopes. But yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
When you're ready to release the news of whatever's coming out, then let me know. We'll have you back on.
That sounds awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity, Ryan, and thanks to all you guys out there hustling every day.
All right, man. Thanks a lot for being on here, Bryan. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, stick around. I'm going to end the show as I usually do with my lighting tip of the week. So stick around. I got to do the commercial breaks. You know that, but I'll be back. It's quick. It's so quick. So get a drink or something and be back in 2 minutes.
Give it a Simon. I just got one thing to ask. Can you dig it? I can dig it. You can dig it. She can dig it. We can dig it. They can dig it. Can you dig it? You can call when you get a chance. 617-992-4793. I can dig it. See you. Bye.
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth. 1 yard at a time.
Hey Turfs Up Radio fans, do you know what time it is? That's right, it's Turfs Up Radio time. Now you can hear the latest updates in green industry news, services and technology. Learn about new products all while enjoying the best music. If you don't believe me, then ask my good friend Alexa. Just say launch Turfs Up Radio.
Attention all veterans. Have you heard about Turfs Up Radio's Jobs for Vets program? If you are looking for a job and you're interested in working in the landscape and snow removal profession, there just might be a company in your local area that is looking to hire. All you have to do is send us your resume at jobsforvets@turfsupradio.com. That's jobsforvets@turfsupradio.com. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Weekend Review.
The Weekend Review. The Weekend Review.
Join King Darren and all of your favorite Turfs Up Radio hosts, including Hecubus, Eric, the Turf Teacher Jones, Brian. Ryan Lee, Wayne, the Prophet Bowles,
One opportunity.
his son Daniel, Brooke Ford, the Green Veteran,
Giddy up,
and many more. Join us live as we unpack the week and share what you may have missed live on Turfs Up Radio. That's the Weekend Review, Saturdays, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Yeah! Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Lighting for Profits. I'm Bryan Lee. Bryan Lee here on Turfs Up Radio. And just had an awesome sit-down interview with Bryan Gold with Brilliance LED. And got some good information out of him. I'm a little disappointed because I was trying to get this super top secret mission out of him, but it sounded like there was a pre-planning meeting. It was hard to crack. But I appreciate him being on. And before I let you guys go for the afternoon, for the day, I want to leave you with my lighting tip of the week. Is that okay? Oh, man. I love this business. I love landscape lighting. I'm super passionate about it. And I struggled with so many things starting and growing my business. And now I feel like it's my obligation to give back and reach back in time and grab myself 10 years ago and be like, you need to do this. Don't do that, you idiot. Why are you doing that? And I do that through my coaching program. I do it vicariously through everyone who joins Landscape Lighting Secrets. But even if you're not a member of Landscape Lighting Secrets, I usually share a tip of the week with you here at the end of Lighting for Profit. So here's the tip. Are you ready? Systematize everything. Okay? You need to start systematizing everything in your life and really, especially your business. But, whether or not you're ready to sell, like some people are like, well, I'm just working. Like I don't want to sell my business. I don't want to franchise. I don't need to really create these processes or anything like that. But you do. Okay. And here's why. Because if you create this stuff, your life is going to get way easier. Okay. And it's not ever going to be a perfect system. It's never going to be a perfect process. But I promise you, the sooner you start working on this stuff and documenting your processes, everything you do, I mean, I'm step by step. Okay. And I'm going through this right now. I just hired, like 2 weeks ago, I hired an assistant, and I'm trying to document these things step by step to make it so that it got to get out of my head, right? I got to get on. And I'm like terribly unorganized. You can ask her. Like she's sometimes is documenting the stuff for me step by step, right? So, but you guys have to do this. I read the book E-Myth. Okay, Reto, he's the owner of Garden Light. He recommended that book to me. He actually got it for me, and I listened to it. It literally teaches you this stuff. Like, you know, even if you're not going to sell your business, set it up like you are, because you're going to it's going to change your life. And Brian's messaging me, yeah, hire out the tasks you don't like doing, right? And that's key. Like, even if you like are like, no, I like to do sales, that's fine. You can still do sales for your company, but you don't need to answer the phones. You don't need to do some of those menial tasks that you don't like doing. You know, you don't need to do installs, and maybe you like installs, but you don't like sales. Well, that's okay. Then hire a salesperson, right? So I promise you guys this, creating checklists is going to change your life. So it's going to allow you to increase your client experience and make sure things are getting done. It'll help you train people to replace you. What's up, Taylor? You're boss. And honestly, there's so many different ways to document procedures. I mean, whether you're ordering materials, okay, staging the jobs, cleaning and organizing trucks, your payroll, your sales process, your follow-up, your installations, service calls, maintenance, company culture, hiring, firing. Yeah, you even have to have a process for firing. But honestly, this will help you. And I remember we were, running our business, and we would do like badass installations. Our installers were amazing. Like, these guys were top notch, right? But then at the end of the job, they would leave some like wire clippings on the sidewalk, or some staples or nails, or just random stuff fall out of their tool bag, right? And I had a customer that literally walked around and picked up every little piece of small, and this wasn't like huge trash bags lying around. I mean, it was small. And they show me in their hand, like they sent me a picture of their hand with all this stuff, like just little stuff, right? And it wasn't a lot, but it was stuff. And they were like so disappointed. Like I had ruined the experience just because of that. Even though like we had badass design, badass installation, like it looked awesome. It didn't matter because we just screwed up in this one little area. And so we added that to a checklist. It's like, hey, before you guys are done, do this, do this, do this, clean up, walk around with the customer, do a walkthrough, let them know you're leaving. Like all these things, you just document it. And then before you know it, you have people doing what they're supposed to do, right? And so I highly recommend you guys do this, and make sure that your document, it's not like you don't even have to come up with stuff. You're already doing it. It's just in your head. So you've got to just literally write down like what you're doing every day. Okay. And this is key. This is the first step in replacing yourself in your business. And again, some people want to argue about like, well, I'm not trying to replace myself. I love what I do. It's like, that's great. But what if you get hurt? What if you're sick? There's so many scenarios why it's important to replace yourself. And when you replace yourself, by the way, it doesn't mean that you can't work in your business. But now all of a sudden you get to go to work because you want to go to work, not because you have to go to work. And those are two very different things. And honestly, the feeling of going to work because you want to go to work, not because you have to go to work, that's what freedom tastes like, right? That's why you're an entrepreneur. And if that's not your goal as an entrepreneur, then what is, right? Because there's a lot of way better paying jobs out there with better benefits and cooler bosses and everything else. You can just go get a job, right? But if you're going to own your own business, you better make it worth it, which is why I'm big on making a ton of money. Because when you make a ton of money, you can reinvest it back into the business. You can afford to hire people. You can afford to replace yourself. And that ultimately is what leads to freedom and allows you to go to work because you want to go to work, not because you have to go to work. So that is my lighting tip of the week. Systematize everything. And you do that by literally just start writing down, create a checklist on everything you do. Seriously, even if it's just ordering materials, like once they order materials, then what? Then you get it from the manufacturer, the distributor. When you get it, go through and check and make sure that it lines up with what you ordered, stage the job. All these little things are not huge, okay? But I promise you, it'll save you a ton of time. It'll save stress from your business and everything else. So, guys, that went by so quick. It always does. But I want to thank you guys for your support. I want to thank my guest, Bryan Gold, for coming on here with Brilliance LED. You're awesome. You're the man. Let's go hang out again. Let's go skiing. Now that I live in Utah, I think I've got to make this like the ski paradise. And anyone who I'll have like a, you got to send me like a pre-qualification video. If you can ski, if you can keep up, then you're invited. Bryan, he's already passed the test, but some other people, you know, they're on the fringes. So, but if you could pass the test, send me your resume and we'll come skiing out here this winter in Salt Lake as a landscape lighting community. All right, guys, that's all I got time for today. You guys have a good one. Keep working on your business. Keep moving forward.